Yeah, we gotta go to the hospital.
Let's go to the hospital now.
Hi, I'm Shelby, and this is Jerry, and we just bought our very first home. It's a beautiful 1959 mid-century house, and we're planning to renovate it.
And then, ya le quebré.
It's kind of cute, but super dated and probably needs to be renovated.
First thing to go though is the carpet.
In this video, we're giving you a full house tour before we start any renovations and also show you why we ended up in the ER on day one.
What's up, guys? Welcome to our new home. We just purchased it. We signed it for it yesterday afternoon. We haven't really done much to it. This is a full walkthrough video that we're gonna do. It's a 1959 home. It hasn't been updated in quite a number of years. It was a single owner home. They did an incredible job with the house, but I think it's time for a modern update. And thanks for joining us.
This is our foyer. It's a pretty large space, and what we really like about it is the brick. We're definitely going to keep that. Another thing that we liked about the house are these pocket doors. You don't really see pocket doors anymore. And in here, we have what we think will be our living room, but we'll get to that a little bit later. We have this wallpaper, which we want to remove. You can kind of see all of the damage, the wear and tear it's had over the years. It's pretty old.
Looks like this may be the original color where the painting was covering, and then you can see next to it where time has just kind of aged it and discolored it. And so I think it's just time for an update.
Yes, and then we have these saltillo floors, which we like the warmth it brings to the space, but we think it needs una limpiada. We think it needs a deep cleaning, and so we kind of want to do that before we decide to strip any of the saltillo floors to see if they look nice.
All right, guys, welcome to the living room. It's pretty dated. Walls are kind of just plain white old. There's some kind of discolorations from where they had pictures hanging and shelves up. The drapes are pretty old. A cool thing I think is super awesome is throughout the house, there's these like little communication boxes from like the 70s or 80s. And they're something called a tacophone. And it was a way to basically an intercom system for the house. The original windows were actually pretty tall. I'm 6'2", and these things are sitting at 6.5 or 7 feet tall originally. But at one point or another, they decided they wanted to shorten the windows. So the window right now is only about 4 foot. In the future, we're thinking about maybe putting it back to the full 7-foot scale. Coming to this side of the living room, we have another large brick wall like we saw earlier, and this fireplace. The wood burning fireplace, it's functional for what we were told. We have swords for sword fighting, because I totally would have done this as a kid. I won't do that and break our new toys. In the fireplace, there's like a storage cabinet here, which, I can kind of get open. It's a bit old. It probably needs to be updated. We'll do something with it, put logs in it, who knows what. The black trim around it, we're not huge fans of. So we'll watch and follow along. Eventually, we'll probably tackle this as a project to kind of redefine what the fireplace looks like. It does extend out pretty far into the room, back through the entryway into the dining room. But the rest of the living room's kind of this size. It's, I don't know, 15 by 20 feet, something like that. So we're excited. First thing to go though is the carpet.
So this is our dining room. As you can see, we have the saltillo floors that continue in the dining room. And then we have we'll show you in a bit, but we have another sitting area. So it continues over there. What really stood out to us when we first viewed this house is this stained glass here. You definitely don't see this in houses nowadays. So this is something that we are planning to preserve.
That's the west side of the house, so the sun comes down and just glows through it, and it's just super cool.
And yeah, so this is our kind of massive dining room.
All right, guys, so here we are on the other side of the partition. Like we said, it kind of separates the dinner space. This is kind of, we're not sure what we're calling it, I guess like a sunroom or like, you know, bright sitting area, living space. We're envisioning, you know, some couches here, having an incredible view of the backyard, which we'll get to later because it is awesome. And it was one of the big selling points for us because we just love outdoors and nature in our city and in South Texas. You don't come by big trees all too often. And when you can have them, you love them. Kind of just working our way back in just to kind of start on this side of the room. Right here, these kind of wicker, or I'm not sure what you call this, to be honest, these closet doors. There is what used to be a functioning indoor grill. Just imagine some coals here, carne asada, burgers, fajitas, tortillas, or whatever, jalapeno poppers. If you know, you know.
All the South Texas foods.
All the staples. Got a hood vent. I believe it functions. It's got a light that functions. The fan doesn't function, but the light does. There's some storage over here for some like wine, things like that. Cabinetry is pretty dated. Maybe we'll sand it down if we can refinish it. If not, we can paint it. So that's kind of this little entertainment zone here. Kind of opposite to it. So on this side is a large wet bar. At some point or other, the previous owners, they liked to host parties. They did have a functioning wet bar. The sink functions. This old ice maker by Uline does not function, nor does the mini fridge. So those will have to come out. I'm not a huge fan of the faux marble look. You know, we'll probably change it out eventually. On the opposite side of this is the office. I think it'd be cool to do a big project bringing the office out somehow in the future. Back behind here is like this old fabric or textile that the previous owners, they're heavily well-traveled. They picked up somewhere along their travels and their way, and they loved it so much that they kind of encased it behind a glass frame. That's really cool. Speaking of those travels, they actually like to show off the gifts they'd buy. So back in the day, I guess they had this built in the house as like a trophy wall of sorts. It's got some lights on the side that you can turn on and highlight what's in here. Another cool thing picked up on the travels is these lights fixtures here. There's 2 of them. We were actually told during the sale that they were picked up in Turkey at some point. We're thinking of leaving them just because they have such a cool story. And a lot of things in this house have such a cool story that we're not really sure where to go with things. We want to keep them all, but at the same time, we kind of want to update things and get them to, you know, modern standards and kind of the nicer styles that we like. But we just want to preserve a lot of this as much as we can.
Another selling point for us was all of the cedar wood that you see here, along this wall, along the ceiling. We think it's so cool and it opens up the space really nicely. And also just having this indoor-outdoor feel. You know, we have all of these really nice sliding doors. There's 4 large sliding doors. We have a really nice view of our backyard. Over here is the office. The wood theme continues here. We think it's a little bit too much wood. The carpet here is really dated. You know, está manchada. Then we need new floors. We also have some cookie cutouts here. You know, that's also kind of really dates the room. So we think it's a great space. We like the location in the home, and we just like the flow and that it faces out into the backyard as well.
So coming into the kitchen here, first off is like kind of this little breakfast nook. It does feel a little claustrophobic in here. Kind of actually out of the breakfast nook, we've got the cabinets up top. These are right here and a hazard to my health and safety when I get bent down and grab something off the counter from this peninsula. So these are gone. Over here, we have kind of like this built-in kitchen desk. In the kitchen itself, we'll come in here. We've got this massive range hood. I do think it's a little overbearing for the kitchen. It is a large kitchen, and even so, I think it would stand to reduce in size. Whatever we do want to reduce this somehow, make it modern. Here we have an old electric range. It's got a comal on it para las tortillas. It's kind of a drop-in to this butcher block island. We're likely going to replace this pretty soon. It does function, but if anybody's used old electric coil ranges, you know that it's not the greatest. The house does have gas, but there's no current gas running to the kitchen. And so we're kind of stuck between induction and gas at this point, whether we want to get lines put in or just get an induction stove that we can just drop and play. On this side, we have some double ovens, which are really nice. Unfortunately, they do not work. They're non-functioning at the moment. So these will also have to be replaced. Kind of the whole kitchen needs new appliances all around. Cabinets, they seem real well built. They function. The door is great. I'm not a fan of the yellow trim, but I do think we may be able to salvage these. This white thing here is, I think it functions too, is you turn it on, you set your food down there and it keeps it warm. Rather than like a heat lamp on top or keeping it kind of on the stove, you can set your charolas or whatever here.
It's cool, but I think we'll probably end up removing it for safety purposes because it's so old.
Yeah, we
And
don't
now-
want to mess with the whole old electric and stuff. We don't want to risk a fire or anything like that. We definitely want to bring things up to code. Down here, they actually have warming boxes. So back in the day, you put your hot food in, just like the hot plate, the more deeper dishes, throw them in there, turn it on warm, and let them sit. Back behind this door, you may have already seen the wallpaper again, was the second entrance to the kitchen. So vision, potentially, all this goes away, and we're gonna say chop, chop, chop to the wall here, from that way up, put some bracing in, some headers, restructure the wall so that it's supported. I don't know if it's a load-bearing wall, but if it is, we'll make sure we do it right. Imagine all this going that way, that entire nook corner being glass. And so you're containing the sights and smells of the kitchen back here to the cooking. We don't want any kind of oil, fumes, whatever you name it, kind of leaching out into the rest of the house when we're having guests. But we can continue to the kitchen and still give that open concept vibe. Something we haven't mentioned yet is these floors. These floors, like the carpet in the living room, have got to go. So right here, behind here in the kitchen, or behind the kitchen, I should say, through it, is the kind of butler pantry, washroom, washer dryer station. This room, very obvious, kind of where the washer dryer setup was. The floors have seen better days for sure. So the floors in here will definitely get redone when we do the kitchen floors. We're not sure if we're just gonna do it all one style or have it be kind of different, but still kind of go with the flow. We're actually not huge fans of these cabinets. It looks like there's been some splash through the years, some water damage. The sink is like an old cast iron sink, which is pretty cool. Maybe we'll repurpose this for something. As a whole, we're thinking that this just needs to go and get stripped out. There's also these kind of utility closets here that aren't really serving much good. It's great for coats, maybe when you walk in. The door off to this side is out to the kind of the walkway to the carport. So it is a good drop-off station. We're actually thinking if we were to blow out this wall, put a much more updated drop-off station, you know, kind of like the cubicles or the stations you've seen all over Instagram and Pinterest and everything. We are big fans of them. We think they look cool. We think they're functional. So maybe we'll redesign these rooms. We are dog lovers and pet lovers. We're even thinking if we get rid of this sink, we'll repurpose this area into a dog wash station. We do have a pretty hairy shepherd and then a Cholo Quincy Mexican hairless dog who is just got skin issues all the time. So we're constantly washing her once a week. And so it'd be nice to just have something to do that in.
And right off the kitchen nook area, we have a really long hallway that leads to a tiny room that was previously a maid's quarter, is what they called it. So that's where we'll put our nieces and nephew if they misbehave, si se portan mal los niños, o si viene la suegra, no te creas.
So right here at the end of the hallway, it is pretty small, was the maid's quarters. When you come in here, I mean, look at this, you know, again, I'm 6'2", you know, I'm nearly touching wall to wall here, quite literally. Right behind us is the world's smallest bathroom for a house this size. I can't even extend my arms all the way. Pretty small either way. There's a small shower that lower than my shoulder. I do have some friends that fit here. He came and saw the house yesterday. Toilet in here that you can wash your hands in the sink at the same time as using it. But this is pretty non-functional for us, guys. I mean, we have 4 other restrooms in the home that guests can use and we can use, and friends and family when they're over. We don't see a big purpose to keep this. However, there is working plumbing here. So stay tuned in the future. It may not happen immediately, probably several years away, but I think this would make an amazing sauna room in the house. Now that I'm done holding my breath in that small oxygen chamber, we come into the den. Point of reference, back windows over here. This is an additional. Earlier, we said there was 4 sliding glass, kind of in that hallway back there. But over here, we have additional sliding glass windows. These beautiful kind of plantation shutters. I'm not sure what they're officially called. If you know the name, pues ahí me dices, me vale, para no ofender. Back behind us is like an entertainment center. I think it was a TV room, sitting room, because that was the ugly red carpet room was the formal living room. We plan to use that as our TV living room. And then, ya le quebré. This was where they had the big box TVs, for those of you who remember them. This whole built-in cabinet, it doesn't serve as the purpose of a TV anymore. Obviously, guys, times have changed. What we're thinking right now is turning this into a large space. So either we remove this and we can have like a cool power rack. We do have a treadmill. Back behind here is a restroom, a lot more spacious than the last one. It's here, easy access. If guests want to come from the outside area, we can always section this off for them to come in here. This would also be a great bonus guest room, or if in the future, a den again. We've seen the living area, the fun entertainment spaces. Now it's time for the bedrooms. So we have this long hallway coming right out of the foyer. First up, we got a couple of closets. They're just general coat closets. All along this hall is some kind of just more storage until the first bedroom. This first bedroom is the master bedroom. We got this old green wallpaper that's got like a traditional style patterning to it. We don't really love it too much. It's very dated and old. You can see where it's got a lot of wear marks. We've got an amazing, beautiful view out to our patio again. There's actually a covered portion of the patio, which is right outside the master doors. So we get all this beautiful natural light in, but it's not too intense. In South Texas, we have a pretty intense sun. So thankfully, that will be controlled. Pretty basic room. At some point, they did retile this room. So we'll probably leave these tiles for now. If we ever update the flooring in here, it'll be at a much later date. Instead of in the hallway, we're gonna go down this section over here. And we have the original master closet in here. It's pretty sizable, spacious. It's nothing too fancy, basic wood framing. Some of it is falling apart. We'll probably just reinforce it and paint it for the time being, just because it's still usable. Floor though, carpet does need to go.
Across from the walk-in closet, we have the master bathroom. It's kind of cute, but super dated and probably needs to be renovated. Coming out of the original master suite, you have kind of a short hallway. In here is another large bathroom.
And this room, we believe, was actually a bedroom at first, with a doorway kind of from that hallway we just came out of.
Yeah.
That ended up getting converted into a very large master closet, to the point it feels like a department store. Kind of has Dillard's vibes. It's got some pink carpet that we don't love too much, but the cabinets are in good shape. Overall, it's kind of got mirrors everywhere.
Has potential.
It's got a built-in vanity behind back here.
And then down the hallway, we have another small bedroom.
Overall, just needs some updating. This room isn't a priority, so that may be something that just waits.
Yeah.
Other than stripping out carpet. Coming here is the last bedroom. It's pretty nice size. It's definitely bigger than the other room. It's got like the chandelier piece that it'll get updated. We don't love the crown molding in here just because the rest of the house doesn't have crown molding. So we'll probably do away with that at some point. It's got a pretty sizable walk-in closet. As far as the closets go in the house, it's only the second smallest for the bedrooms, but it's still pretty large. So, and then this bathroom has stained glass back here. It's real pretty, it's detailed. The story on both stained glass windows is that the owners actually repurposed them from a previous home or building down in the downtown area of our city. It was a family members or someone that they knew that they just were in love with the windows, and when they were updating their house, they said, hey, can we add that in or take those to repurpose them, which they did. And we love the idea of upcycling. That's something we like to do ourselves. Take old furniture, update it, give it a fresh coat of paint, and give it a second life. So this is already these windows' second life. Maybe it'll become a third one day, who knows.
As soon as we finished recording the house tour, we got to work right away. We decided to start with removing curtains and the carpet from the living room. You can see us here removing the thumbtack and just cleaning up the entire room. Honestly, couldn't wait to start doing this part because the house smelled nasty. Unfortunately, those carpets were so old. They had a lot of stains on them, and they were honestly probably decades old. And yeah, they needed to be ripped out. There were also roaches in the curtains. So yeah, that was nasty. So I'm glad we got rid of those. And unfortunately, on this day, Jerry also had an accident. So you can see him here removing the rest of the thumbtack from the room. And right after this, he cut up the carpet. We started removing the carpet. And unfortunately, he cut in the wrong direction, like facing him versus facing out. And you'll see right now in a bit. Yeah, so you can see here, he's cutting up the carpet, and in the next scene, you'll see what happens.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we gotta go to the hospital. Take off my glove. Turn off the camera.
I know, don't worry about it. Let's go to the hospital now.
Turn off the radio.
So right after this, we rushed to the ER. I was honestly kind of freaking out because blood was gushing out and it was scary. So yeah, I was scared, but I'm happy that I remained calm and I was able to drive him to the ER, and we were lucky that it wasn't a lot worse than it was. So yeah, this was our chaotic day one. And as you can see, we've got a long way to go, but we're so excited to share it all. And if you like this video, please follow along if you want to see more future projects that we take on.